Alright, this episode is going to be called Only a Poet's Love Can Save Us. This is perhaps going to be a lot more intimate, I think, mainly because I will be reading several passages from poems. Some of them the full poem, some of them only portions of the poem. But it gave me a lot of thought recently about how we view love, and maybe if we do this comparison about how poets have interpreted love and what they've said about love for a while now. Maybe it can cause us some reflection when we say that we love a person, or when we say that we don't love a person, or maybe someone didn't love you enough, or you felt that you didn't love someone else enough, or what even worse, that maybe you don't love yourself enough, and all these continuous thoughts and anxieties that arise within us and around us. And so how I'm going to begin is by quoting Fernando Pessoa, who is one of my favorites, along with Rilke. That reminds me, I should have included Rilke, but I think the people that I have with me right now will do fine. So here's a quote from Pessoa from the book of Disquiet. We never love anyone. What we love is the idea we have of someone. It's our own concept, our own selves, that we love. And now I'm going to proceed with reading one from Ibn Arabi, where he writes, "My heart can take on any form, a meadow for gazelles, a cloister for monks, for the idols, sacred ground, Kaaba for the circling pilgrim, the tables of the Torah, the scrolls of the Qur'ān. I profess the religion of love. Wherever its caravan turns along the way, that is the belief, the faith I keep." And then here's a portion of a poem from Rumi. An idle passerby comments, "It's only an empty sack." The Sufi says, "Leave. You want what we do not want. You are not a lover. A lover's food is the love of bread, not the bread. No one who really loves existence. Lovers have nothing to do with existence. They collect the interest without the capital." Now a section now to finish up a long poem by Gibran on love. I will, I guess, only read a portion of it, but there's so much of it that's so good. But I guess I'll start here. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you laugh, but not all of your laughter, and weep, but not all of your tears. Love gives not but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather, I am in the heart of God. And think not you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires: to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night, to know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and to bleed willingly and joyfully, to wake at dawn with a wing heart and give thanks for another day of loving, to rest at the noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy, to return home at evening tide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips. Okay, so that is that's the end of all these several poets that I've chosen that spoke about love. And it seems there's a kind of connecting theme here, right? Going from Pessoa, Ibn Arabi, Gibran, Rumi. Now, some could argue Gibran and Rumi and Ibn Arabi are all kind of connected, and so are Pessoa, because they all did have kind of specific notions of God and so on. But I think what I really like about all four of them is that they really question your notion about what you think love is. Because it would seem to be the case that whatever you think love is, that's not it. Or maybe it's only a part of it. And so when we are living our lives and trying to love each other, it would seem that whatever notion of love that we know isn't love, or only a part of it. And those are the only things that we're willing to settle for. The things that are not love, or the things that are only parts of love. And what I like about Ibn Arabi's poem about my heart can take on any form is that he's letting his heart be directed by love itself. Especially if you want to connect Gibran, right? Love gives not to anyone else. It does not want to be possessed or possessed. It only gives to itself. And if you want to be, and if love finds you worthy, it will direct your course. And it makes me wonder about how resistful we are when we talk about love. How it's not that we want love to direct our course, but if we use Pessoa's notion that whatever we know about love, it's only a concept that we created for ourselves, and that's what we love. And And if we put this into perspective, right? Are we really, these feelings that we have, these feelings that are created, are we really following the course of love? Or are we just following the course of what we think is love instead? And I would say by using all of these descriptions, and I think Rumi really, I think, threw the punch at the end, in my opinion. Because he says, no real lover loves existence. That really hits hard there, because then it makes you wonder exactly then what is this existence and what is the role of this existence? How are we supposed to relate with this existence if a true lover really doesn't love existence? And I think the better way to phrase it is that real love cannot be based, if we're just kind of use Rumi's interpretation or Rumi's kind of notion of love. Love cannot be based on some kind of existence. And you get this from Gibran as well, where love is like some kind of entity, right? You can't possess it, it only gives to itself. And that's really interesting, right? Because I guess what Rumi's saying now is that if you love something that's in existence, that's not love. That's not real love. Because it seems like love surpasses even that. And once we understand that love surpasses that, and love chooses to take any form, and love can become any form that it chooses to, well, then it really mystifies love more than we've ever imagined. More than we could ever think of. And so every time when people talk about, well, I know what love is because I felt it before, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure they felt it. The problem is, how are we interpreting it? Are we under-interpreting love again to where it's just based on this kind of existence? Now, I'm not asking for us to kind of believe in some kind of God. All I'm trying to say is, clearly, if we look at the interactions with each other, right? Let's just do this, for example. Two people are having an interaction. They both say that they're looking for love. Okay, so if I'm missing love and you're missing love, what makes you think that we're going to find love in the two individuals that are missing it? Isn't that strange that we always do this kind of interaction? Right? I claim that I'm missing love. She claims that she's missing love. And then yet, for some reason, we get the idea, the thought that if we interact with each other, that we'll find it in each other. Is that not strange? I feel like that's very strange. But I think what actually happens is that love is always this kind of, and I think Ibn Arabi kind of capitalized it on it, is that love is always taking all these different forms. Sometimes it takes the form of, our parents, our brothers or sisters. And then finally it takes the form of a more intimate relationship with a partner. But it's always directing its own course. The real question is, do we choose to follow the course? Or do we keep saying that we've lost love? And in some sense, we have lost love. But it's not the love for each other. I don't think that's the case. It's that we chose to go another way around. And this other way, this other path would be what we think is love. Because I've noticed when people talk about love, it's always about them to some degree. It's always about them. And a lot of people say, no, it's not about me. I've always sacrificed for these people. I've always given so much for these people. I am not a selfish lover. But see, even that is still a sort of egoic kind of love. And for those of you that don't understand, I will kind of clarify for you. What that means is, if you're upset that you've sacrificed for somebody, that you're constantly giving to somebody, we can't pretend that you're really actually sacrificing. Because, see, you're still expecting. Sacrificing is a way of expecting. If you're complaining about always giving, you're still expecting. See, it becomes very egoic the more we analyze this, the more we talk about this. And so it basically the complaints are about how unsatisfied and how unrecognized your efforts were. And that's still focused again on the self. And that would be exactly what Pessoa would call that we never love anyone. What we love is the idea we have of someone. It's our own concept, our own selves. Right? There's just rereading the same quote that he said. And this always leaves a lot to question, because I think and the reason why I've been doing series on dating and intimacy and reading a lot about desire, I guess maybe my mission, my whole aim maybe is that I'm interested about, I want to problematize how we relate to each other and how we can relate to each other in new ways. But of course, the first thing that I have to do is start by problematizing the fact that we still don't relate to each other. That there's still just an immense amount of things in the way from seeing each other. If I were to be honest, we're basically toys in, we're toy figures in transparent boxes. And all we are is lined up with each other on shelves, and we talk to each other between these boxes. But there's still such a vast and great distance between us. There is no, in my opinion, there's very rare instances of actual intimacy. And I want to problematize this. I want to make this a problem. Because it should be a problem, and it needs to be a bigger problem than what people typically talk about it, right? Like, it typically just, I don't want to say it's on a superficial counts, but what I say is that typically it just kind of has this notion of like, oh, there's, men that aren't loyal, or women that are cheaters, or something like, it's, these are problems, yes, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to problematize it more than those symptoms. To me, those are just symptoms of the problem, right? We really need to problematize the actual problem and discuss the actual problem, and then see how we can relate to each other from there. And my hope is, and I think that's why I've been doing so many videos and talking about this for so much, My hope is that in this problematizing and talking about it, that the moment that we can really talk about the problem, maybe it'll do this weird thing, will turn, right? It will turn itself around without us really having to do anything, and then we all of a sudden are relating to each other in new ways and making ourselves more transparent for each other, and to some degree. But and then constantly doing this, constantly doing this, right? Not just stopping, but constantly doing this turn, as if you were kind of just spinning a cube 360s, but you just kept doing it, And the more you do it, the different sounds it makes, the different relations it makes with the environment, the different, and so on. We need to have this sort of dialectical turning going on. But anyways, I think that's enough from me. I definitely ranted here. All right, take care.